Welcome back to the Daily Sports Report Podcast, your one-stop pod for all things UNT sports. As always, I am your host and sports editor for the North Texas Daily, Ian Pfaffenberger. We are here with opinion editor Kyson Barber today, new guest at the table. Kyson, say what's up to all of us.
Hello. I'm the opinion editor with the North Texas Daily. Excited to join you today.
Yeah, Kyson's here to give his opinion on the UNT men's and women's basketball team. Now, we've been talking about football for quite a while here on this podcast. It's about time we get into basketball season. They're in the middle of their season. Lots been going on with football, but as it kind of dwindles down, it's time for us to give you guys some coverage and some talking on both of these teams, the men's basketball and women's basketball. Men's basketball is off to an 11-7 and total record to start and a 2-3 record in conference play. So a bit of an up and down journey for them so far this season. They have the best defense in the American, but they are very inconsistent on offense. They average 43, 32, and 69 from the field, hold opponents to 41, 29, and 70. It's a slight dip in both sides from the Hodge era. So a little bit worse offense, a little bit better defense for the team. The backcourt of Deshaun Stevenson and David Terrell Jr. has really been carrying the load on offense. Both average over 31 minutes a game. Only players to average double digits for this team. Outside of the starting five, no other players average more than 16.5 minutes per game. Really interesting tidbit there. Another note we will get to in these next few questions is the team has signed Senegalese forward Ousmane Undour. They signed him on January 5th. It's a big add since his team is very lacking in size. He's a 6'9" experienced forward. He's going to be a 20-year-old freshman, by the way, when he comes in. He'll have 4 years of eligibility as a 20-year-old. It's very funny. Modern day sport or college sports, am I right? It's a big add for this team who has the second lowest total rebounds in the American Conference. So, with all that in mind, some quick notes. Carson, let me hear your opinion. What do you think, just overall, has been the struggle early in the season for this team? You know, obviously an 11-7 start, 2-3 in conference. Not used to what we're seeing out of this team. You know, coming off the Grant McCaslin and Ross Hodge era. There's been a couple things to dislike, couple things to like, couple things to dislike. What do you think's been the biggest struggle?
I mean, the offense is really rough, getting off the ground. I mean, we've had a couple, low-scoring games, and especially with only two players, really contributing to the offense. It's rough. Looking there. But, I mean, the defense doesn't win championships or games, as Nico Harrison puts it. Did put it. And clearly we see how that's working out. So just, relying on the defense is not going to work for him. And you're coming off with a new coach after two great coaches. I mean, he's making a lot of changes to the team. So, and having to work with a new team. New coach, new team, getting that offense back to where it should be is a struggle.
Yeah, as my good friend Ruben once put it, defense can win you championships, but they don't win you games, right? And that's something Coach Daniel Robinson, when he first came in here, said one of his philosophies was, we're going to play aggressive, we're going to play hard defense, which is something carried over from the Ross Hodge era. It's certainly translated, obviously. I mean, you're holding opponents to under 30% shooting from 3 and 41%. That's about, it's about average for the Group of 5 college ball, but it's tops in the American. So for conference play, it's working out well. But yes, with that struggling offense, hasn't translated much, and especially when you don't have the depth that you need, only have your starting 5 really playing a good chunk of minutes. You don't have anyone else averaging 16.5. It's a struggle. So moving into this next one, do you think the Tulane, the team got a big win against Tulane, actually, this last Sunday, I believe it was, 71-63 away, which is a place they've struggled this year, is on the road. Got a big win there. Playing some upcoming games against some struggling teams. They take on UTSA tonight, actually. It'll be after this podcast comes out. But they take on UTSA tonight, who is 0-6 in conference right now, and then East Carolina, who does not have a win. So the two worst teams in the American Conference, this men's basketball team takes on. Kyson, do you think that Tulane win and then these upcoming games against some struggling teams, do you think that'll set this team maybe in a good place and hopefully give them some momentum?
I mean, yeah, the momentum is necessary. We're still early in the season in the conference plays, and so I think the momentum that they get from these next couple games will be key, especially with the addition of Ousmane, and so it'll bring that depth that they need and the momentum to really win these like have a good season and have a competitive season.
Yeah, as this conference play, obviously 2-3. They started off with the loss in Memphis on New Year's Eve. That's just a tough schedule right there. You're playing away on New Year's Eve. They come back. Let me pull up the schedule real quick. Yes, they lose Memphis in a pretty low scoring game. It was in the 50s, I believe.
Yeah.
Then you take on Tulsa after, get a big win there by 5 points, lose to South Florida, lose to Wichita State, and then you have this win against Tulane. So it's been pretty up and down, inconsistencies obviously, but I think that math 8-point win against Tulane will set them off. It'll set them off on a good foot, and hopefully you can get some of these other guys rolling outside of Stevenson and David Terrell. Because it's tough when you only have two guys who can consistently score the ball, right? Yeah. Obviously, you have Dylan Arnett who can drop double digits here and there. Reese Robinson, same type of thing. But just having the lack of depth is certainly a struggle. So, on the topic of depth and Ousmane, as we've kind of talked about, 6'9" forward from Senegalese. Let me pull up some of his stats here. He played in Spain for a couple of years. Averaged 10 points and 5 rebounds for Benicarlo, and then went to CB Taronga, where he averaged 11.5 points and 5.6 per game. So Kyson, if they can get this man in the on the team this season, just because of all the logistics and legalities of it, what do you think he adds to this team, especially the front court that is lacking in size and depth?
I mean, they have Terrell, they have Stevenson, both playing a very good backcourt, been carrying the load on offense and stuff, and so really filling that out for even just one more player, filling out that front court, giving them that one more player to add to the depth on the team will be huge, especially because it'll create a good like backcourt offense balance that they are lacking right now.
Yeah.
And some more size as well. That's huge.
Yeah, especially because UNT is the second lowest rebound total in the American, as we mentioned. However, they just recorded their highest rebound total since 2022 against Tulane. They recorded 47 in that game, out-rebounded them by 17. So another reason for optimism for this team. Still kind of early in conference play. You have, how many games left? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 more games left in conference. So you have some time. UNT is currently sitting at, I believe, third last in conference. Oh, yeah. No, women's basketball. Yeah, third last in the conference for men's basketball. So not where you want to be at this point in the season, but I think the upcoming schedule they have right now, factored in with if they can get Ousmane in there, plus the team chemistry, because obviously this entire team is entirely new. A lot of them coming from Cleveland State, some of them coming from other Group of 5 conferences, and a new coach. So obviously you need time for gelling and maturating. But I think as time goes on, this team gains some momentum. Hopefully gains Ousmane. I think it'll prove well for them to be able to grab some momentum and get some wins in conference. Because if they can get on a 3-game stretch where you have this win against Tulane and then hopefully get those wins against UTSA and East Carolina, have a 3-game conference winning streak, that would do numbers. Especially if as you head back out onto the road after East Carolina. Against Tulsa, who's sitting up there at the conference. So if you can get a 3-game win streak under your belt, head into Tulsa, maybe pull off an upset, I think that'd be humongous.
Oh yeah. Huge. Because I mean, like this season's going to be a lot of building, trying to build back like an actual team chemistry, and so building that momentum would help that team chemistry at the same time. Maybe leading into a decent, not postseason, but like second half of the season for them.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys are young, too, is something that we haven't talked about yet. Deshaun Stevenson is a sophomore. I think David Terrell is a junior. A lot of these guys have some eligibility left. Hopefully you can retain them.
Hopefully if we can keep the players.
That's the key. That's the key, right? But, a lot of them are young and, as we mentioned, no really prior playing experience together. David Terrell is from UTSA. Deshaun Stevenson is from Cleveland State. Both had some success at their prior levels, but meeting on the same level and the same team always takes some time. Obviously, you trust Daniel Robinson just with his pedigree over at Cleveland State. He's going to get this team intact. So game tonight, UTSA. We'll see what happens there. Then they take on East Carolina. Maybe Saturday. Obviously, there's the weather and everything. The big storm coming. Y'all stay safe, y'all stay safe. By the way, it'll be a pretty big storm. But we'll see how that goes. Final note for this men's basketball segment. Kyson, what do you think is going to happen at this UTSA game tonight? Give me your predictions.
I mean, hopefully, it's going to be a huge win. And we need a huge win. That would be great. But I think it's going to be like it's here, right?
It is here.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Like, I'm not worried about it, but I want it to be a large margin.
Large margin. What do you think? Who do you think is the MVP of the game?
I mean, we're just gonna see Stevenson be the MVP again. He's the only one carrying the load on the offense. Unless, I mean, we could have some other players come in. So, like, actually, if they give us some minutes this game, give some minutes to them and really give some experience to the bench and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Final score predictions. Last one on this note.
Ooh.
Let me pull up some interactive stats if this will load, just to give you some background on UTSA. Okay, UTSA, last offense in the American at 68 points per game. Their defense is second to last, allowing 79.2 points per game.
Okay.
Their point margin, obviously dead last. Field goals, sitting last. Opponent field goal percentage, sitting ninth. 3-point percentage, second to last. Free throw percentage is last. Rebounding is seventh, a little bit better. Turnovers, their turnover margin, they're 12th, so second to last. So all around, not great for the in-state rival Roadrunners. With all that in mind, Carson, what do you think the score might be? Their average an extremely low amount of points, 68. UNT has the best defense in the American. They allow a lot of points per game. The UNT offense has been struggling. All that in mind.
I think it's going to be like a 70, crisp mid-70, like 75 to like a 51.
I like that.
Like, decent. Like, I think it's going to be a pretty large margin.
The big confidence boost. I mean, 20-plus win would do numbers.
It would be great.
You know, if you're trying to capture that magic that happened last season, right? Did you keep up with men's basketball at all?
Yeah.
Last
Oh,
season?
yeah.
I mean, you had Atten Wright and Brendan Laurent, and that's kind of the difference between, you know, these teams, right? Is I think the last year's team had a ton of depth. You had Atten Wright and you had Brendan Laurent, who were your main scorers, and they were super flashy, could score the rock kind of at all levels. Atten Wright was a great shooter, but you had a bunch of guys who could take over and get a bucket when they need to, right? You had Malaya Sissoko could put it in on the inside, Jasper Floyd could make it in when he needed to. Trying to think, Jonathan Massey, Grant Powell. Obviously lost all those guys, but that was
and that's why they left.
Well, to graduate, a lot of them were seniors.
A lot of them
so
were seniors.
we're gonna hold on. We're gonna hold on to they didn't actually leave us.
Please.
They graduated as a North Texas alum. No, but you know, you have all those guys who can take over when need be, and I think that's something that's lacking from this team right now. Obviously, Dylan Arnett is, I think, the second leading scorer for this team. It actually was Will McClendon for a little bit until he very unfortunately tore his ACL just 4 games into the season, which I think is something we haven't even mentioned yet. But I think that was a big hindrance on this team, as he was going to be the third in that backcourt trio with Stevenson, Terrell, and McClendon. And then I'm sure the offense was going to kind of run through those guys, but then you lost McClendon, who was, I think, a 4th or 5th year senior, played at the Power 4 level, so he has a lot of experience, pretty good shooter, but then you lose him really early in the season. So now you have to rely on Stevenson and Terrell, and they play over 31 minutes a game, play a lot of the game, and then you don't really have a lot of other guys who are able to take on that mantle.
And when you're not playing that many minutes a game, you don't have that much time to really warm up and get into the game. And especially over the season, not getting much experience to gel with the rest of the team, that also hinders the kind of bench, the depth that we have.
Yeah.
And it's needed because we need to win games first, but also getting that kind of team chemistry between all the players would be great. And I think that's what the UTSA game would be great for.
Yeah. They need that one moment that the crowd hyper. So get out to the stadium. Give this team some livelihood, right? Yeah. All right, we're getting to women's basketball now. They have been on a very good tear as of late. They're 11-8 overall, but that is most likely due to a very tough non-conference. Played a lot of Power 4 teams. They're off to a 5-2 conference start. Very good. They have been led by a litany of players, most notably Megan Nestor, 6'4" forward, and Asia Proctor, 5'8" guard from UTSA, I believe it was. Nestor has been a double-double machine, rebounding machine. She's like top 5 in both those categories in the nation. And Proctor has been on a tear since she entered the starting lineup a few weeks back. She's averaging 18 points per game in conference play. So the team is being led by those two, but they have just a plethora of talent and depth off the bench. So kind of the opposite of what this men's team has kind of been so far. They kind of have 6 players who can consistently score. Obviously, you have Nestor and Proctor. You have sophomore guard Shania Price, which, by the way, feature about her coming out from senior sports writer Haley Stum. Go check it out. It's a great read. Kind of describes her journey here. She's one of the 3 remaining players from last year's record-breaking squad that Coach Jason Burton coached. You have her, obviously. You have Jazzy Owens-Barnett, who's a really good plug-in off the bench. Micaiah Price, who's a great 6-man spark plug off the bench as well. So you have a team that is very deep with talent. And that's noted in their last game that happened yesterday, on Tuesday. They had 4 players score double-digit points against UAB. Freshman Cherie Spencer dropped a career high. I believe it was 16 points, I had to guess. Yeah, 16 points. So overall, just an abundance of talent and evenly great on both sides. This team is top 3 in offense and defense in the Americans, so not lacking anywhere really. Obviously, they're lacking somewhere, but offense and defense are the main parts of the game. A great start in conference for this team. So Kyson, considering, like I mentioned before, this team lost all but 3 players from last year's team. That's just the way it goes at UNT, right? Obviously, you lose arguably the best player in program history, Tamisha Lampkin, I think rebound leader and points leader. You lose Desiree Wooten, who is a all-conference selection. You use a great shooter in Kyla Deck. You lose Ariana Hardaway, who went to your in-state rival UTSA. You lose a lot of talent, and it seems like this team hasn't skipped a beat. Coach Jason Burton got back on it, got players from all levels, got a lot of junior college athletes, got some people from in-conference who were maybe hidden behind some other players on the bench, like Asia Proctor. Mm-hmm. This is a really breakout season where she only averaged, I think, like 5 or 6 points in her first 2 seasons. Just what are your thoughts on the way you think this roster has been constructed by Burton?
I mean, honestly, it's impressive. Losing nearly an entire team and rebuilding it with like really strong players and getting a really good depth for the team is crazy. And seeing like how much of a tear we're on right now is also just great to see. I mean, building the team has been great. Burton's done great.
I know, yeah, and that's obviously something that he's been able to work with was Tamisha Lampkin, who I think was 6'2" forward. He always works with a great variety of players. He doesn't limit himself to playing kind of one type of way. You had great shooters last year. You had Tamisha Lampkin, who was a double-double machine herself on the inside, and then you kind of supplement that with Megan Nestor now, 6'4", really tall, averaging I think the most offensive rebounds in the country is what I saw, like over 5. Most in the country, averaging a double-double, obviously. You have Asia Proctor, she's been on an offensive tear. She's shooting over 50% from 3 as of recent on the season.
She's fun to watch.
Yeah, she is incredibly fun to watch. On the season, she's shooting 41% from 3, which is really great. Not to mention Jazzy Owens-Barnett, 38%, Micaiah Chase, 35%. So a lot of shooters to combine with the inside force that you have with Megan Nestor and Tiana Lidge, who we haven't even mentioned, both, I think, 6'4". So what do you think, Kyson, having such a this deep lineup, this deep depth of players, for lack of a better term, all these different types of players has done to allow these people to break out? Obviously, we mentioned Asia Proctor was kind of hidden behind in the shadows at UTSA, didn't play much. Now she's broken out. Shania Price obviously was on the bench as a freshman last year. Kind of makes sense with the team they had, but now she's able to break out, starting, contributing a lot of points. What do you think having such a deep lineup has done for these players?
I mean, having a good team gel, having a good team like camaraderie is great for specific players to shine. When you have I'm blanking on names. When you have Asia Proctor scoring amazing shots and with Shania Price, those couple players who are just really spotlighted when the entire team is working great together. And so building up back a brand new team and then having that good of team camaraderie is fantastic for the specific players that are doing great.
Mm-hmm. This team, obviously, it took on UAB yesterday, won 72-59 in like an hour and a half. I was at my desk, and I was like waiting for the game to be done so I could update the notes. And it was done like an hour and a half. I was like, that was the fastest game I've ever seen. And then the game before that took on Rice, conference leaders, 6-0 in conference as of right now. Only lost to them by 4. Only turned the ball over like 6 times, I think it was. Very close game up until the end there, competing. And, obviously the offensive onslaughts that were UAB and Memphis win. So this team can play either way, right? Mm-hmm. If it's a defensive game, they can compete with Rice. If it's an offensive game, they can outscore you like they did against Memphis, like they did against UAB. So really good stretch these last 2 games for this team as well. I think don't be fooled by that 11-8 record, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were able to go toe to toe with conference leaders Rice, who have talent littered throughout. Only lost by 4, rebounded in a great way against UAB. Big double-digit win there. So going off of all that, Carson, the recent string that this team has had, how much do you believe this team can contend to compete in the American? Right now they sit at. Let me see where they sit in the American standings.
Let's see here.
Pretty high.
Where are they? 4th.
They're 4th, yes.
4th right now, tied with South Florida.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, 4 teams with 2 losses. North Texas is amidst those. East Carolina has 1 loss to 6-1. Rice is 6-0. So where do you think this team, or how do you think this team can go on a run just with this recent string of momentum?
I mean, with the string of momentum, plus, I mean, even the Rice game that we lost, we still did great. Like, we still had an amazing show. And so I think with the momentum we have now, going into, what are our next couple games? Let's see here. Tulsa, UTSA, and FAU. Yeah, we're going to continue to win for a decent bit, I think, especially with how good we're doing right now. So it's looking good. It's looking good. And then in February we're playing Rice again, so we do get a rematch pretty soon.
It'll be an away game, but I'm sure we'll be hungry for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, just shout out to Coach Burton, right? Like, he did not miss a beat rebuilding this team. It's tough going from, you have really 2 great basketball teams on both sides last year, and then you lose all those players, and it's hard to stay invested, as we've talked about on this podcast a lot. When you lose all these players year after year, it's hard to stay invested. But Coach Burton buys in to this school and this program, and he supplemented this team with just some fantastic talent and did not miss a beat. It's been really fun to watch. I mean, obviously won't have that 25-9 record I think it was like last year, but they have a chance to do really great in conference, finish top 3, maybe even earn not an at-large bid, but a bid through conference championship to the Women's March Madness, or Women's March Madness, right?
Okay,
Why roll that out?
Yeah,
NIT, I would
true.
hope, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go through that American Conference Championship or tournament and then win that championship, you get the automatic bid, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Rice, East Carolina will be the ones to beat there, but they've already showed they can compete toe to toe with them.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun stuff for that. Yeah. Kyson, any last thoughts on these basketball teams? Obviously, middle of the season, anything you want to say to the fans who are maybe, especially on the men's basketball team, maybe having some doubts about this new roster and new team?
I mean, with the men's basketball, I'm really hoping it turns around because, I mean, we have last couple of years of just really solid men's basketball consistently. And so I'm really hoping the next, half month that we start to turn around, especially if we get that addition of Usmane. That would be great to see. It would be so fun to see Mean Green basketball take off.
Yeah.
And then Mean Green's women's basketball is phenomenal. It's so fun to watch. And I'll definitely catch more games. I know last season I didn't keep up with it as much. This season I'm starting to now. It's so fun.
Yeah. I obviously didn't keep up with UNT sports till I got here last year, and watching the basketball teams, because I knew our football team was never great until
all of a sudden,
all of a sudden, right? But I always knew our basketball teams were always very solid. We had the NIT win before I got here, and we were always good at women's basketball as well, and it's a really good, refreshing thing to see when your program can resupplement and be, have at least something to look forward to year after year. So things are looking up for these basketball programs as the season goes on. We will keep up with that as we go with the latest news and everything else. This is your one-stop pod for all things UNT sports. Kyson, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun, yeah. We were supposed to have managing editor Justin Naw on again, but unfortunately couldn't make it. He'll be back eventually this semester. We're all pretty busy with life and everything like that. But yes, thank you guys for watching this episode. We'll be back next week with another one. As always, I'm your host for the North Texas Daily. As your host for the North Texas Daily Sports Report podcast, Pfaffenberger, and we'll see you guys in the next one.